several unions affiliated to the Federation SAFTU have demanded an explanation for the Federation's intention to suspend its General Secretary, Zwelinzima Vavi. In a letter sent on Tuesday, SAFTU President Mek Shabalala informed Vavi of the National Office Bearer's intention to place him on precautionary suspension pending a probe into misconduct. Vavi is here to explain himself now and giving us an opportunity as this channel. Mr. Vavi, thank you very much for your time. Can we just get an explanation from you as to what lies behind this misconduct allegation? What is it that you are being blamed for by fellow office bearers?
Totally, you are in the possession of that letter from the president of SAFTU. Even as a journalist who have not been into any CCMA to represent any worker or labor court or in any kind of a hearing, you would have never ever come across a letter written in that kind. Very vague, no details provided, no substance, nothing except the headlines that are meant to generate the dust that letter had generated. It is saying that you are accused of having broken the Constitution. No example is provided. You are accused of undermining the decisions of the structures of the Federation, assuming the Congress, the Central Committee, the NEC, no example provided. You are accused of undermining the administration of financial policies, no detail of any kind presented. What does that mean? What does that tell you? That there is no such a detail to start with.
So, Mr. Vavi, let me ask the question then. Let me quickly ask the question, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Has Mr. Shabalala taken ownership of the letter? Does he own that letter to say, yes, it was written by me?
Yes, it was written by him. He's actually sent it to me. I don't know who leaked it to yourselves, but it was sent to me at 8 o'clock 2 days ago, and I responded to it yesterday. And my response to him was very clear. We are colleagues. You are my fellow national office bearer. You have no power to discipline me unless you have been given authority by the National Executive Committee. The Constitution of the Federation is absolutely categorical. The power, the prerogative, the responsibility to suspend national office bearer is a responsibility of the National Executive Committee. You can't imagine if such power was to be given to national office bearers to every time they have a beef against each other, suspend each other. And it makes me to remember one attempt last year, is it last year or this year, of the Secretary General of the ANC attempting to suspend the President of the ANC on the basis that he had the administrative powers in the organization to do so. It's unheard of. That's anarchy. And SAFTU is not an organization of anarchists. We've run away from anarchy where people use bureaucratic mechanism to fire people without following any procedures in line with the provisions of their constitutions or law, and then hire bodyguards and to stop them from coming to the meeting. A situation that will lead to the members being kicked out physically from the meetings, whilst the non-members are sitting in the meetings taking decisions at the expense of the people who are paying subscriptions. So we've moved away. When we left COSATU, we closed the door on those type of shenanigans, and they will not be allowed in the Federation. And the attempt by anyone who may be twiddling fingers somewhere at home and doing nothing for workers or for this Federation will not succeed. We're not going to give in to that. That's what we formed SAFTU for, to close a door on bureaucratic maneuvers, factionalism, that then must plunge this movement and the workers' organization into crisis, and in the process make us to divert attention away from the brutal exploitation workers are going through on a daily basis, to follow into these unconstitutional steps taken by comrades on the basis of decisions not taken by the organization but elsewhere in some dark corners.
Mr. Vavi, you will know the question, or you will know the saying that goes, there is no smoke without fire. The president of SAFTU could not have written such a letter to you without anything that may possibly point to some kind of wrongdoing, unless you're going to tell us that politics are at play. And I'm asking you this question on the back of concerns, Mr. Vavi, not only from where you come from, which is COSATU, but in particular to some of the stories that have surrounded some of SAFTU's affiliates, that union leaders are living lives that are far removed from those of their members. Simply put, you're living lavish lifestyles on the back of worker subscriptions.
You can't use that at least against me. You can look next door. And some people who are being accused have not been accused of stealing millions. Even in the letter of intent that is supposed to be a notice towards a suspension when a decision has already been taken. There is no mentioning that I must respond to some millions of rands missing. We can't use one brush to paint every trade union leader as dishonest, but more important, the intention of the factionalist always is pro-mud. Throw as much mud as you can. Some mud will stick. And then you will use that proverb, there's always a fire where there is a smoke. There is no smoke, there is no fire. Anyone who says that I have stolen money or have misused power in any kind, there is a National Executive Committee of SAFTU coming on the 24th and 26th, and today there is a meeting of the National Finance Committee whose responsibility is to scrutinize all expenditure of the Federation. And if indeed they find a misdemeanor in any transactions on whatever kind, that is the structure that is empowered to go to the National Executive Committee and say there is a discrepancy here. We are asking you to further investigate, or we have investigated, we have found this, please act. No one else acts outside those prescriptions of the Constitution.
Are you prepared to challenge your fellow office bearer, Mr. Vavi, to say, you've written this letter and it has been leaked somehow to the media, therefore smearing my name. If you don't retract, I'm taking you to court. Are you prepared to do something like that?
No, I'm not. I've already responded. I think you missed my response. The point that we are making to the president is, one, I was never in any meeting that you came that we were part of, where there were allegations and accusations that have broken the Constitution, have broken the financial policy, or I have broken any kind of existing policies of the Federation. So the letter is a news, is absolutely a shocker that the meeting that I was part of will then be used to try and smear my name. There was an allegation that, not even an allegation, the treasurer says there's some eyebrows that needs to be looked at in the credit card transaction. Let me tell you what are the eyebrows referred to. It is the usage of the card to purchase airtime of 1,000, 1,800, 400, 1,300. You know, in the process of us experiencing and engaging with the new normal, we hold all of our meetings through Zoom.
And so you take ownership of that usage. Sorry, Mr. Vavi.
Absolutely.
So you use that credit card to buy airtime?
For the provincial leadership of the Federation, not even for me. I have enough in all of us as the leadership. We have enough. We don't use that. But the provincial leaders, the members of the steering committee, have to be purchased airtime for them to join those Zoom meetings. That's what is now suddenly raising eyebrows. And what else? Those type of things. All of them, we are putting a proper response to present to the meeting of the Digital Finance Committee, and we will challenge anybody to then raise the eyebrows.
All right.
And say that actually some of the airtime was written and bought for the very same people who are supporting the motion that I must be put on suspension on the basis that I have these suspicions here about the airtime.
Very quickly, Mr. Vavi. Very quickly. Yeah. Let's wind this down very quickly. Is the president prepared to withdraw the letter he has written to you? Yes or no?
I don't think he will ever do that, honestly. And I don't want to demean the president of SAFTU in public. I've stated the points that I think I should state in this interview, and I must emphasize the following. The president, the national office bearers, do not have the power to suspend each other in line with the provisions of the Constitution. That power only resides with the National Executive Committee, which is the body that will be meeting next week on the 24th to the 26th.
All right.
And anything else is just a noise that we must ignore.
So I think it's fair. It's fair, therefore, Mr. Vavi, right now, to characterize the SAFTU leadership as being divided. Am I correct?
Unfortunately, it has been divided for the past 5 years. If truth to be told, this is a function of a leadership that is unable to work with one another. There's no doubt about it. And if you were in the structures of the organization, I will tell you the real root cause of what we are dealing with in the Federation
is?
I won't tell you, you are not a member of SAFTU. Join and be part of the National Executive.
Zwelinzima Vavi, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. So there you hear it from one of the leaders, in fact, the main leader of SAFTU, Zwelinzima Vavi, that the Federation is divided. What does that tell you about the state of labor unions or labor federations in the country?